I saw you guys liked the last breakdown of Andrew Huberman's mental health podcast, so I decided to do another one, this time about the science of love and bonds. Before we get started, I just want to say that all of the facts provided in this video are from Neuroscientist Andrew Huberman's podcast, from 3 different episodes. All 3 will be linked in the description if you want to learn more about something, or if you want the full science behind these claims, since I will be just stating them. First, let's talk about attraction from a scientific and biological standpoint. Odor. Okay, listen, but this is actually important. By odor, I mean someone's natural smell without any products like deodorant applied. This is something you judge subconsciously, but can be a major deal breaker for some according to many different studies. For both men and women, the natural scent of their future possible significant other is a big factor in deciding partners, especially for longer relationships and have the goal of having children together. The point I'm making here is that later in this video you'll hear a lot of scientific stuff about this and that, but also understand that we call chemistry day to day is actually our body's natural response to forming a trust between other human beings. So even if you find someone very attractive by, for an example, their pictures, you might not hit it off once you meet, since your chemistry is not compatible with them. Men also rated the scent of the same woman differently before she was on birth control to that when she was on it. Before we get started, all you really need to understand is that the purpose of emotion is to form bonds and to make predictions. So like if I do X, that person will probably do Z. First, let me explain how your body understands what we call emotions. When you are born in this world, you are an empty blanket in the sense that you have absolutely no idea what your needs are. You just get these feelings that make you uncomfortable and cause you to cry out. You will learn to recognize these feelings as different needs, like hunger and cold. The way your parents treated you as a child affects basically every emotion you have and therefore every relationship you have. As a child you form something called attachment style, and there's 4 different ones: secure, avoidant, ambivalent and disorganized. These attachment styles were discovered in studies that went like this. A child and a caregiver, usually the mother or the father of the child, played together for some time. Then the caregiver left the child alone and returned after a moment. The child's reaction was studied and put into one of these groups. So the secure ones were upset when the caregiver was away and then happy when the caregiver returned. Avoidant ones kept playing alone during their time alone as if it didn't bother them. And the avoidant kids didn't really react to the caregiver's return. Ambivalent seemed like they were kind of happy that the caregiver returned, but at the same time they appeared angry or annoyed. And the disorganized children appeared fearful when the caregiver returned, but like they didn't notice their absence when they were gone, and overall had pretty mixed reactions. I want to quickly mention that attachment styles are not 100% permanent and they can be changed, but it takes time and effort. There are also 4 factors to building a bond with someone: gaze, voice, affect and touch. So basically how you look at somebody and how they look at you, what you say, what they say, what you feel, what they feel. Doctors John and Julie Gottman have studied how to predict whether or not a relationship will last or break up over time. I'll just play the whole clip from the Huberman podcast, since I think it sums up everything very well.
There are some things that they can observe between couples that can lead them to predict whether or not a couple will stay together or break up with 94% accuracy. So what are those things? 1, criticism. 2, defensiveness. 3, stonewalling. And 4, contempt, with contempt being the most powerful predictor of breaking up. Criticism, of course, does not mean that there's no place for criticism in stable relationships. Of course there is. It has to do with how frequent and how intensely that criticism is voiced. Defensiveness, of course, is defensiveness we know as the sort of lack of ability to hear another or to adopt their stance. So lack of empathy, I think, is one way to interpret defensiveness. Stonewalling, which is actually another form of lack of empathy. It's a turning off of this neural circuit that's so critical for desire, love, and attachment. And contempt, of course, by definition, is the feeling that a person or thing is beneath consideration, worthlessness, or deserving scorn. And apparently they can identify this in the videos of couples having discussions and interacting by very elaborate eye rolls, by expressions of anger in one individual when their partner is actually expressing enthusiasm or excitement about something. It's the, oh yeah, you would say that, or or deep-seated resentment toward the other, so much so that it's apparent that one kind of actively dislikes the other partner.
And that's it. If you found this video helpful, please consider liking and subscribing, and check out the videos on the screen.